Good morning. So today you'll hear Mojo in the background. I put him outside because he's got to have something to do, but tomorrow night we have Jupiter square Pluto. But in the Vedic, the moon is moving from Revati to Ashwini. And Revati is the end of that abyss. So by the end of the 16th, we'll begin to go into the Sun sextile Neptune. We will culminate Jupiter square Pluto. And by the end of the 18th, this is Mercury sextile Saturn. So this Mercury stationing, here's the Mercury station. So officially, Mercury stationed on Monday. So way early in the morning, this morning, it's done with the station. That means it's stopped, just stopping. Now it will begin to move forward. But you see this gap all day. So we've got basically we're in a flexible time. We just had Mars trine Neptune. Mars, your ability to impose yourself in a trine to Neptune, which in my chart indicates celestial music. But other people might have it, and it's at 8 degrees, so it might be a different flavor of Neptune, which is a very high frequency. It's kind of a chartreuse color. And it is twins with Uranus, who is a turquoise, kind of the seafoam color. They're twins. And their frequencies are very similar. Uranus is very erratic, and Neptune is very infinite. And it can also, when you got Mars trine Neptune, you might have a man trying to deceive you, or a man, because Mars is the man and Neptune is fog, some masculine presence kind of enveloping you with this sort of effuse sort of love, but it's fake or it's a deception. And it doesn't necessarily have to be intentional. It could just be that you misinterpret a masculine presence. But anyway, that's waning, see? It'll be done by tomorrow midday, tomorrow late morning. So we have stationary direct, and then on the 19th, which is Friday, I don't have it on here, but there is the sun and the moon conjunct, and that will be the new moon in Taurus. Those eclipses and it's at the very end of Taurus, so it will be going, the sun will be going into Gemini very soon after this new moon in Taurus. So, even in the Vedic, it's the first new moon in Taurus. But we had a new moon at 29 degrees, 59 minutes of Aries. So we already had the Taurus new moon, or we had the Aries new moon. We've got two systems we're working. And we can harmonize them. We just have to intentionally harmonize them because they don't go together. They're not necessarily operating in reverse, but they're 432 hertz as opposed to 440. So the Vedic or the sidereal, which would be going from Revati, which is the deep abyss, kind of subconscious, to Ashwini, which is like being born into the fire. So it's a Gandanta for the moon, and this is going to happen all day. So we'll be in flux. So you want to swim today, whatever that is. Okay, so we have these two different systems, but all these conjunctions are just happening, regardless of what the names are. I know that Mars and Neptune had a trine, right? And we know that the sun and it will be sextile Neptune. And the Sun and Mars are very harmonious right now. So that's a good thing. So then the end of the week, so then we have this, okay, on Friday we'll have the new moon, which is a new seed starting. Sorry about the dog. And then on Saturday, well, actually, during that moon, look at all the processes happening. First of all, we have finally Mercury, who is now direct, will be sextile Saturn. That's a very strong, stable, good influence. Okay, so Mercury's going direct, and this brings us all the way back to April 7th, when Mercury was at this same spot in the sky. So just think about that. We're waning on the Jupiter, okay, square Pluto. That's going to be something. Something is going to come up, right? Because it's Taurus and Aquarius, 0, 0. Jupiter is going into Taurus tomorrow. So then we have this Sun sextile Neptune. Now, there's deception. Neptune, it can be great. Unconditional love, and it's all rosy and beautiful, and infinitude, and Pisces, swimming in the seas of gratitude. Yeah, that's Neptune. But a Neptune is also deception. Like if you have someone like a Neptune opposition moon, that means someone who is lies about their how they feel, their emotions, which is the moon. And with Neptune, it's going to be really hard for them to say how they really feel. Like it feels scary. It feels dangerous to express your true feelings. And this would be the work of Neptune. And it isn't necessarily nefarious, but there are some people who are like in your life. Let's say you have this guy you're dating and he's acting like he really likes you. And you really think he has feelings for you, but he has no feelings at all. So that would be sort of like, Sun and Neptune or Moon and Neptune. Okay, so then, this is today. We're in a void, okay? And then tomorrow we have that culmination of Jupiter square Neptune. If you're on the East Coast, it's going to happen a different time. Jupiter square Pluto in Taurus to Aquarius, 9 p.m. Wednesday. That is on Central Time. These are all Central Time. So it'll be 10 p.m. on the East Coast and 7 p.m. on the West Coast for the United States. Add 5 for the Universal Central Time or Great Britain or the, Greenwich Meridian, whatever you want to call it. It's 5 plus 5. So here we go. So then on Friday, we finally get this out of the way, this Mercury sextile Saturn that's going to bring revelations. So we really need this transit here on Friday morning so that when the new moon happens, we know what we're doing. We know what we want to plant. Okay, because we have all these influences coming in for the beginning of next week and the end of this week. So what have we got? We're starting with the Mars. Hang on, Mars opposition Pluto. All right, so we're going to have Jupiter square, and then we're going to have Mars opposing. And then Mars is going to square. See how that goes? There's Mars. There's Jupiter, but Jupiter is square Pluto. Mars opposing Pluto? So Jupiter and Mars must be very close in Paran. That means in harmony. So then we have the Sun, sextile Mars. So Mars is going to get some information from Pluto. He's going to stand up for himself because Pluto is the underworld. It's sort of like being abducted, And Jupiter is the great benefic, and he's going to tell this Pluto, you got to have to stand down. This square is going to be very powerful. So we look for whatever on the outside is happening is just a reflection of what is on the inside. It goes from inside to out, the beginning, okay, and then is on the inside, and then it manifests. So we have the Mars opposing Pluto, very powerful transit right here, all right, and that is going to begin us into this, this new moon that we're in the balsamic phase right now. So we're sort of like, we're shedding everything. It's so unbearable, isn't it? Okay, so then, but the new moon and all this good stuff is going to happen. Look at this. There's Friday, there's Saturday, there's Sunday. The sun is going to trine Pluto. So we have to have these confrontations. We can't delude ourselves. We have to stop hiding, sweeping under the carpet because it doesn't benefit. It doesn't help at all. When you get to the bottom here, the sun, trine Pluto, that's when you can really get the solutions solidified. And we're beginning a new lunar cycle. So by Sunday, and this is like, it says 9 a.m., so that's 8 a.m. Central. These are all New York times. So then we have the sun sextile Mars, and then we're going to have a Mars square Jupiter, so that Mars can be informed. Our ability to impose ourselves in a healthy way is completely fucked. We are just not doing it right. We're imposing ourselves where we don't need to be, and we're not imposing ourselves where our power is. So, everybody, and the guys, they revert to playing with their belly buttons. That's their safe place. And the women, they want to get embroiled and entangled in everybody's business. That's their safe place because they don't feel comfortable inside either. And the men playing with their belly buttons isn't them feeling comfortable inside. No, it's just self-aggrandizement. It's just another way to escape. All this Neptune is escape, especially with Pisces. And then with Saturn. With Saturn in Pisces, there's also this inability to escape. It's almost like you go to run out the door and all of a sudden there's no door anymore. All the walls pop up and you're trapped. And especially with the Mars, the men are all trapped right now. Opposing Pluto, the men are going to have a confrontation. And every one of us will. In the areas of our life where our Mars is, where we impose ourselves. For good or for bad. There's no, imposing yourself is just where you take action. It's not a bad thing. I'm so constantly confronted with people who cannot shed this black and white, good and evil, bad and good. They just can't. It's like they're stuck in duality. But we have a heart. Check out the three-legged stool. That's an article on Substack. You have to understand you are a three-legged stool. And the good and the bad, there's no room for you if you stay in that duality. So you have to step out of that and look at it as a crayon drawing that your mom had on the refrigerator when you were little, okay? You're past that. You're over it. Move on. So here we go. So we have, we're going to have the sun trine Pluto on Sunday. And then Mars will be able to do something. Sun sextile Mars. You can think of sextile is 60 degrees. Well, sex is sex, right? What does it produce? Well, generally, if it's healthy, it will produce babies. If it isn't healthy, it'll just produce anxiety because it's very intimate and you are playing with the flower of life. You're playing with the primary elemental influences in a callous way. There is no way you wouldn't suffer consequences for doing that. That's where we get consequences and we don't use what we are creating with in a dignified or respectful manner. And that is against the, universal laws. There will be consequences and we're seeing them. We want to blame other people. We want to point to the outside. But it's not the outside that is doing any of this. It is us. We are the planets. So anyway, that's sort of a rundown. It's so much, easier for me to just explain it. And I hope that makes sense. I'm working on these so that I can be a better guide with the knowledge that I have, working on how to explain it in a way that people can digest it. So if you have any suggestions, I certainly encourage anyone to contact me, ask me questions, music.alchemy@yahoo.com. And so I wish everyone the best for this upcoming week. We are now out of the stationing of Mercury, so that's our minds. It's the way we approach everything. Maybe things are not going to go kind of in reverse or just static like it's been. It's been sort of, Mercury now, anything that you started just a few days ago or a week ago or whatever, and you may actually go and abandon it, or you may see it completely differently, and you're going to handle it differently. But there's no bad or good, all right? So you just learn, and potentially that would be the best case for all of us, is to be able to learn from our experiences and refine them and do better in the future. So that's all. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.